Hi guys, today I'm going to be reading a book, which I don't know what it's called. And it's like these type of characters, and they each have a weird name, like Mr. Smiley or something, or Mrs. So this one is called Mr. Brave. So let's get into the book. Mr. Brave is not as strong as Mr. Strong. He is not as tall as Mr. Tall, but that does not stop him being brave, as you will soon see. Now, last Tuesday, little Miss Bossy invited Mr. Brave to tea. "And don't be late," she shouted over the phone. There's Mr. Tall. It's like half of his head is off the page. And then I think this is Miss Bossy, and this is Mr. Brave, obviously. It was a very stormy day, but Mr. Brave knew that little Miss Bossy's temper was worse than the storm. So he set off for little Miss Bossy's house, hurrying along as fast as he could, to be sure that he was not late for tea, because there might not be tea left. So he's holding his hat so it doesn't blow away, because you can see how the illustrator put cool effects of the wind blowing and leaves. So let's move on to the next page. Along the way he heard a cry for help. It was Mr. Messy. He had been blown into the river by the wind. Mr. Brave did not want to be late to see little Miss Bossy, but being the brave fellow he was, he jumped into the river and rescued Mr. Messy. The author just drew the outline and just scribbled, and that's cool. I don't think he or she doesn't know how to swim. No, it's a he because it says Mr. Let's move on. Soaping wet, Mr. Brave hurried along the road. Suddenly, he heard someone loudly sobbing. Who could it be? The water dripping off of him is green. It was little Miss Somersault. She was balancing on a tightrope tied between two tall trees. "Oh, Mr. Brave, I'm so lonely," she sobbed. "Nobody will come and play on my tightrope. They are all too frightened of heights. You're so brave. Won't you come and join me?" She's just sobbing away on the rope. Mr. Brave looked up at little Miss Somersault. Then he thought about little Miss Bossy, but being the brave fellow he was, he took pity on little Miss Somersault and climbed onto the tightrope. They chit-chatted happily until Mr. Brave happened to look down. "Little Miss Somersault, look, the rope is going to snap. We're going to fall. ... And it's such a long way to the bottom. Oh, calamity! Oh, help!" he cried out in panic. "Be brave, Mr. Brave," said little Miss Somersault. There's a string. Mr. Brave is not being brave at all, and she is. So I don't know why he's named Mr. Brave. We'll see what happens. With no more fuss, she carried him safely back down to the ground. "Oh, thank you," said Mr. Brave with a sigh of relief. I thought Mr. Brave was supposed to be the brave one. Little Miss Somersault said goodbye, and Mr. Brave was left on his own, shaking like a leaf. "I don't deserve to be called Mr. Brave. I was scared stiff. Thank goodness nobody knows my secret," he said to himself, and nobody did know his secret, or did they? So maybe he's not actually brave and he just wants to be a show-off. Little Miss Trouble just happened to be passing by. She saw everything, and what she had seen and heard had given her an idea. A very naughty idea. She grinned a mischievous grin. Hey, come here, everybody. Come and see this, she shouted at the top of her voice. There's Miss Trouble, little Miss Trouble. Very quickly, a large crowd gathered. I have an announcement, announced little Miss Trouble. Did you know that Mr. Brave isn't brave at all? No, it can't be true, said the crowd all at once. It is true, said little Miss Trouble, and I'll prove it to you. There's the crowd. Wait, I think that's Miss Bossy. Or whatever. Her name is probably Miss Bossy. But why is she here? I'm pretty sure it's Miss Bossy. This one, it has a different color hat, so it might not be Miss Bossy. Mr. Brave, she continued, I dare you to walk across that tightrope. Look it. He's like, I just did that with, what is her name? Miss Somersault. But he doesn't want to say that he's not brave. Mr. Brave looked up at the tightrope, and all the crowd looked up at the tightrope. Then all the crowd looked at Mr. Brave. Mr. Brave suddenly remembered something, a very important something. Just look at the time, he cried. I'm going to be late for tea at little Miss Bossy's. Gotta run, he cried, and he ran off as quickly as possible. Hooray, cheered the crowd, and they all clapped and applauded Mr. Brave. Little Miss Trouble looked very puzzled. Why are you all cheering him? She cried. He ran away. He isn't brave at all. Oh, yes, he is, they all shouted. Would you show up late for tea at little Miss Bossy's house? He's just like running away. Little Miss Trouble thought for a moment. Gosh, he is brave after all, she said in awe. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and turn on the notification bell. Bye! And don't forget to read another read aloud. Bye!